Well, we knew this move was coming, and it is here. That is coming from the Detroit Lions Twitter account that the Lions announced roster moves. They have activated defensive back CJ Gardner-Johnson and defensive lineman Alim Mcneill from injured reserve, elevated defensive lineman Tyson Alualu, and fullback Jason Kabenda from the practice squad to the active-inactive list. They have re-signed tight end Anthony Fursker to the practice squad. Now, we waived Anthony Fursker from the active roster. We also waived Isaiah Buggs. There were 2 spots available. Those 2 spots have now been filled with the return of Alim Mcneill and CJ Gardner-Johnson. We just talked about CJ last night, about how he wasn't happy about the rotational role that he has, but he knows that he's a team player and it's for the betterment of the team. Now, I will assure you this, that CJ Gardner-Johnson is going to play his best football, I guarantee you, being in a rotational piece, because he is going to be doing everything he can to get that starting role back. I'm glad that he is active and that he will be playing. Now, originally, he was questionable, and there's an additional part of this tweet that says, which I think is awesome, it says that game status update. CJ Gardner-Johnson, previously listed at questionable, has been removed from the game status report. So yesterday, when the status report came out, said he was questionable. Now, we know questionable is leaning toward you're going to play. I don't know if you guys ever picked up on that, but questionable, you're really leaning toward playing, whereas doubtful, you're leaning toward being out. And he was questionable. Now this brother is back. He is back, and he is going to play tomorrow. How many snaps he takes, that has yet to be seen, but CJ Gardner-Johnson is going to be back. Now, as far as Alim Mcneill, I want to say he was kind of like the DJ Chark situation. If you guys remember from last year, DJ Chark, he went on temporary IR for 4 weeks, kind of finished healing. He came back and was able to finish the season. I think he played a total of 11 games. Alim Mcneill, if you remember, when he got injured in that game, he wound up coming back in and finishing the game, very similar to CJ Gardner-Johnson. But then the next day he was put on IR. And I think what that did was that created a roster spot for somebody else to come up, and it gave Alim Mcneill time to heal. I'm glad Alim Mcneill is back because, believe it or not, this brother has missed 4 games, and he is still the second most leading sack person on our team. Aiden Hutchinson, 9.5. Alim Mcneill with 5. No one else has anywhere between that. And this guy missed 4 games. So I think he's going to come in and definitely be a person that the Minnesota Vikings have to watch out for tomorrow. And I'm glad he's back because we're going to need him going into the playoffs. Believe it or not, a week from today, your Detroit Lions could be playing in the playoffs. We don't know what day our game is going to be. We've heard that it's not going to be Monday. It's probably going to be in that Sunday window, in my opinion. But either way, Saturday, Sunday, we will be playing playoff football for the first time. Speaking of football, I will be at the game tomorrow. If you are going to the game tomorrow, get there early at 12:40. They are going to have the NFC North title recognition that's going to last about 10 minutes. And then they're going to go into player introductions, with kickoff being at 1. The gates are going to open at 10:30, which is a half hour earlier than they usually open, which is usually about 2 hours before kickoff. There'll be a power hour and things like that. I know I don't work for the Detroit Lions. I just kind of remember the itinerary that I saw in my Twitter account. So CJ Gardner-Johnson back. We'll be playing tomorrow. Alim Mcneill back. We'll be playing tomorrow. And we're going to need both of those guys to ensure we get this W, because believe it or not, the Minnesota Vikings are still playing for a playoff spot. They have to beat us. That's first and foremost. They lose that game. Everything else is irrelevant, but they also need 3 other things to happen as well for them to sneak their way in. So they're going to be giving us everything they have in order to claim the 7th playoff spot. Now, just for the record, if the Packers lose, they are done. They have a win and get in scenario. Chicago Bears can beat them, and they're officially out. And then that'll open the door for everyone else to kind of slide in there, from the Saints to, even the Falcons are still alive. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about CJ Gardner-Johnson and Alim Mcneill being back tomorrow? And apparently his name is still CJ Gardner-Johnson. It's not going to be CD Deuce on the back of his jersey, at least not yet. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Consider subscribing to the YouTube channel on a push to 18,000. We're trying to get to that 20K, man, before the month is out. So consider subscribing if you haven't already, because why? I'm one of the best in the space, big dog. All right. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.